The heat pressed down like a sweaty hand, thick and relentless. America was still here, technically, but it wore a stranger's face. Military trucks prowled the streets, engines grumbling like old dogs. Soldiers behind mirrored sunglasses scanned for anyone who didn't belong. Every red light was a checkpoint, every intersection a dare. Freedom had packed its bags and left town. Fear had moved in and started rearranging the furniture. By July, deportation meant whatever they wanted it to mean. The regime's enemies list grew by the hour. Critics, immigrants, progressives, journalists, even presidents. No one was too important, too beloved, or too invisible to be spared. Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, was shot dead in broad daylight on the Capitol steps. His blood stained the marble as news cameras rolled and the crowd scattered. The footage was played on a loop for days. A warning written in red. Not long after, former President Barack Obama was dragged from his Chicago home by federal agents. His family watched as he was hustled onto a military transport and flown to Kenya. The regime called it repatriation. The world called it exile. In living rooms across America, the message was clear. No one was safe. Not the powerful, not the invisible, not even the untouchable. The lesson was simple and brutal. Don't get comfortable. But the real show was in Texas, where the witch hunts came back. No metaphor, just nightmare. Black uniforms, guns, a taste for spectacle. They broke up drum circles, dragged healers from sound baths, arrested Reiki masters. Unapproved spiritual traditions was the new code for witch. The accused were paraded through the square, condemned in show trials, then burned for all to see. History's horror, now streaming live. Gloria Crockett found herself in Bonham Square, the Texas heat pressing against her, squeezing the air from her lungs, sweat crawling down her back. She meant only to deliver a cake and get back home to Dallas, but the GPS fizzled out in the piney woods of northeast Texas, and now she was stranded in a crowd forced to watch a Texas-style witch burning. A woman stood tied to a post, shattered crystal bowls at her feet, long blonde hair blowing in the wind, back exposed and streaked with sweat, tattoos, crescents, spirals, runes ran down her spine. Gloria knew those marks, healer symbols, not witchcraft, healing. Her hand shook so hard she hugged herself. This is evil. How did we let it get this far? The thunder rolled. The sky purpled. Senator Ted Cruz stepped forward. The crowd parted for him. He bent the air just by being in it. He was smaller than on TV, but nothing small about the way he moved. Cold eyes, the whip looked right at home in his hand. Gloria's mouth dried up. Fear crawled up her throat and settled behind her eyes. She remembered Jasmine, her daughter, calling Cruz out in Congress, saying he needed to be knocked over the head. Cruz had clutched his pearls, accusing Jasmine of inciting riot, violence. The media had run with it for days. But here he was, whip in hand, ready to tear flesh, and right beside him was Governor Greg Abbott, sitting in his wheelchair, watching the spectacle. Cruz's voice cut through the square. Today we'll cleanse this witch of her devil's marks. I'll whip the devil tattoos off of her back, and with them the evil that's poisoned our land. The crowd cheered, hungry. Gloria flinched, her stomach twisted. She tried to step back, but the bodies pressed in. The whip cracked, the woman jerked, a red welt bloomed. Gloria's lips parted, but nothing came out. Her knees buckled. This could be Jasmine. They could do this to anyone. Stop, she managed, voice thin and desperate. She's a healer. Please, have mercy. Cruz didn't even look her way. He cracked that whip again and again. The woman's cries were sharp, then muffled. Gloria tried to push forward, but a man blocked her, blank-eyed. Move along, lady. This is justice. Her breath came in shallow gasps. He could turn on me, on Jasmine, on anyone who speaks out, anyone who helps, anyone who doesn't conform. Enough, Gloria sobbed. Please, for God's sake, stop. The crowd's noise faltered. Some turned away, some crossed themselves, some just stared. But Cruz kept going. The whip kept cracking. Mercy was dead. Lightning split the sky. Banners snapped. Trumpian Christianity, one nation, one faith, one Savior. Gloria looked at Abbott, desperate. Stop him! Do something! Have mercy! Governor Abbott rolled forward, torch in hand, wheelchair creaking. For a moment, hope flickered. Maybe he'd stop it. But Abbott's eyes were flat as coins. He leaned in, voice low. Mercy is for the faithful. For the rest, judgment. He touched the torch to the kindling. Flames licked up, hungry. Thunder crashed, rattling windows, lightning forked, turning faces ghostly. The woman's screams rose with the flames, raw and ragged. Gloria dropped to her knees, sobbing, body racked with terror and helplessness. Please, God, stop this madness. Nobody is safe. Don't let them come for Jasmine. Please, please, please. Then the tornadoes came. A black funnel twisted down from the bruised sky. Another, and then another, spinning, hungry. Sirens wailed. The crowd scattered, mothers grabbing children, men diving for cover as the sky ripped open. The tornadoes tore through the pines, flattening everything, snapping trees like matchsticks. Smoke stung Gloria's eyes and throat. The woman's screams faded into the roar of the wind and the thunder. Gloria wept for the woman, for herself, for every mother terrified the world would turn on her child for daring to heal, to help, to speak. She wept for the cruelty that was now normal, for the hatred that burned hotter than the Texas sun. No one was safe. No one could look away. And Gloria Crockett knew, deep in her bones, that this day, the screams, the storm, the shame would haunt her forever. And with every breath, her fear for Jasmine burned brighter. Please, God, keep her safe. Don't let her be next.
Summer 2025, America changed. Military trucks at every light. Hey. Soldiers scan faces, nobody's safe. Fears moved in, freedom's out of sight. Knew some shot in daylight, blood on stone. Cameras rolling, a message sent. Oh, Drum circles shatter, healers named. Show trials, uniforms, fire feeds. Old horrors now live on our screens. Finite heat never breaks, it only brands. Justice stripped by brutal hands. Names may vanish, but wrong remains. We witness, we remember names.
The convoy rolled out of Bonham Square right after the sky had split open and sirens wailed. A black funnel touched down beyond the courthouse, gnawing at the piney woods. Rain battered the armored SUV, drumming a nervous rhythm on the roof. Inside, the air was thick and close. Cruz sat rigid, staring straight ahead, the leather of his gloves creaking as he flexed his hands. The crowd's cheers still echoed, but louder was the memory of the old black woman in the crowd. Her voice, raw and pleading, slicing through the noise. Please, have mercy. She had looked right at him, eyes shining with grief and something like defiance. He tried to shake her from his mind, but he couldn't. Her voice in his head was louder than the thunder outside. He thought of his daughter Caroline. Would she hate him for this? She'd always called him out, even as a little girl. You're supposed to protect people, Dad, not hurt them. The word stung. Would she forgive him for today? Would he forgive himself? A flash of lightning illuminated Abbott in the seat beside him, face pale, jaw clenched. Abbott stared out the window. The scent of the torch oil still clung to his suit. The crowd had wanted blood. They'd called it justice. But the woman's face haunted him too. Her courage, her pain. Was this really what Texans wanted? Or just what the lauded voices demanded? He remembered that old black woman's eyes, the hope there, the belief, however foolish, that he might show mercy. He told himself he was giving the people what they wanted. But as the tornadoes tore through the countryside, he wasn't so sure. The SUV shuddered as the wind hit hard. Trees snapped in the distance, debris swirling like angry ghosts. Cruz closed his eyes. The woman's cries and his daughter's voice tangled in his own mind. Abbott gripped the armrest, knuckles white, as the storm outside mirrored the storm inside. For a moment, neither man spoke, only rain and the distant roar of the wind. Cruz's hand hovered over his phone, thumb itching to text Caroline, to explain, to apologize, but he couldn't bring himself to do it. Abbott's lips moved in a silent prayer, though whether for forgiveness or strength, he didn't know. The tornadoes raged, and the memory of mercy denied rode with them into the night. That was the summer of 2025, the summer when cruelty wasn't just allowed, it was required. When the past's darkest chapters got up, stretched, and started walking the streets again, arm in arm with the new order, while the sky above split open and the land remembered how to scream.
The convoy rolled as the sky split open, sirens wailing, black funnels sent. a drum line of dread, nothing but sweat and silence within. Cruz sits rigid, leather gloves creak, her voice still echoes raw